My name is Emily Hart, and I'm 37 years old. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Maybe because if I don't say it out loud, it'll sit there in my chest like a stone, pressing heavier every day. Like it has been for the past 6 months. I used to feel beautiful. Desired. Like I mattered in his eyes. Brian made me feel that way once. When we first met, he used to touch my face like I was fragile glass, fingertips to my jaw, my temple, as if he was afraid I might slip away if he didn't hold me gently enough. His kisses were slow, careful, full of breath and promise. I remember once, I can still see the way the light fell through the kitchen window. He pulled me close by my waist, pressing me against the counter, his mouth warm against my ear, whispering stupid, ridiculous things that made me laugh until I forgot the tea boiling behind me. God. I felt wanted then. Now? Now his kisses land differently. Like clockwork. Like duty. Sometimes they miss my mouth completely and catch the corner of my cheek, like he's distracted before he even starts. When he hugs me, his arms fold tight around my shoulders, firm, secure, but something about the way his hands flatten against my back feels like holding a bag of groceries, not a woman. It's there. Reliable. But not awake. I tell myself he's tired. Work's been hell. Stress, projects, family drama, he's a man trying to juggle too many plates, that's all. But I can feel the quiet cracks running through us. Like hairline fractures you don't see until the glass shatters. Last month we went to dinner, our 10th anniversary. I wore the green dress he used to love. It clung to me in the right places. I even curled my hair like I did when we were first dating. When I stepped out of the bedroom, I waited for that look, that first, slow smile he used to give me, where his eyes lit up before he even said a word. But he only glanced up from his phone. And he said it. You look better than the girls my age. My stomach turned in this strange way, like the floor under me shifted a little. I laughed, like it was funny. Like I knew what he meant. Like it wasn't a quiet wound slipping under my skin. Girls his age. Brian is 42. I'm 37. 5 years. 5 years I've never cared about, never even noticed, until that moment when he made it sound like I was somehow past something. Like the girls his age were a different kind of woman now. Like I wasn't in the room with him. And the worst part? He didn't even notice what he'd said. He reached for me across the table, his hand covering mine, thumb circling soft over my knuckles, and I smiled and nodded and pretended I wasn't holding my breath. The food tasted like cardboard. The wine was sour. The conversation went flat and familiar, the same way our bedroom feels lately when he pulls me close at night and I go willingly, but without spark. I still let him spoon me. I still rest my cheek against his chest, listening to the rhythm of his breathing. But I feel like I'm listening through glass. Like he's there and not there, both at once. I can feel myself disappearing. Slowly. Like mist in sunlight. The moment I knew for sure, the moment something really shifted, happened 3 nights ago. I came into the living room in my old college t-shirt, no makeup, hair piled up, barefoot. The way I always used to. The way he used to like. He used to say I looked prettiest this way, raw, real. But that night, I caught him looking at someone on his phone. A woman on Instagram. Younger. Laughing into the camera, full lips, bright eyes. I saw his thumb pause on the screen. And when he looked up at me, tired, absent, he smiled. The same smile he gives the delivery guy or the neighbor. Not the smile that used to be mine. That's when I knew. Something was gone. Or maybe I was. Brian's a physical therapist. Has been for 12 years now. Strong hands, gentle touch, the kind that can heal pulled muscles and torn ligaments without making you flinch. His patients adore him. They say he's patient. Warm. Careful. I wonder when he stopped being those things with me. It was a Saturday morning when the misunderstanding really bloomed, though neither of us noticed it right away. I was sitting at the dining table, half-heartedly stirring oatmeal, watching the rain slide down the window. My laptop sat open with a blank page. I'd been trying to journal, to make sense of the quiet knot in my chest, but the words wouldn't come. Brian padded into the room behind me, fresh from his run. His shirt clung to his chest and back, damp with sweat, skin flushed from the cold. He smelled like rain and energy and something else, something far away. He leaned down, kissed the top of my head. "Morning, babe," he murmured into my hair. I tensed. I don't think he felt it. His hand slid down my shoulders, squeezing gently, a little massage, his familiar way of checking in. Of saying, "See? I love you. I'm here." But it felt like pressure. Like he wanted something. Like I was a client he could work loose with his thumbs. I swallowed and kept stirring. "Want to come upstairs after breakfast?" he asked softly, his lips brushing my ear. "Maybe, hang out for a bit?" I closed my eyes. There it was again. The way he reached for me, always with his hands, his body, never his words. Never the space where my thoughts lived. "Not right now, Bree. I've got a headache." He stilled behind me. I could feel him waiting, calculating, wondering if this was another no in the growing list. "You've had a lot of headaches lately," he said carefully. I bristled. "Maybe because I've been stressed." "Stressed about what?" He moved around to face me, crouching to my eye level, fingertips still resting on my shoulder. "Talk to me, Em. You never say what's going on anymore." I stared at him. Really stared. His gray eyes were so open, so earnest, like he honestly thought he was trying to reach me. But he wasn't. He was reaching for my body again. My skin. "Not me. You only touch me when you want something," I blurted before I could stop myself. His face twisted. "That's not fair. Isn't it? You kiss me when you leave. You hug me before bed. You rub my shoulders in the kitchen. But you don't actually see me, Brian. You don't ask how I feel anymore. You don't listen." He pulled back, hands falling from my skin like they'd lost purpose. "I thought I was showing you I cared," he said quietly. "I thought that's what you wanted. I mean, you used to love this. I used to feel connected to you," I whispered. "Now it feels like you're trying to fix me. Like I'm another patient with a tight back and stiff shoulders. Like if you rub me long enough, I'll relax. Open up. But I can't. Not like this." He ran a hand through his hair, pacing a slow, helpless circle in the small kitchen. The rain outside tapped harder against the glass. "Emily," he said finally, turning to me, "I'm not good with words. You know that. I try to show you. That's how I love. That's how I always have. But I'm not a body to work on," I said softly. "I'm not muscle and tension and tissue. I'm not something you can fix with your hands. I need you to see me. To ask. To be curious. Like you used to be." His face fell. And for the first time in months, he looked truly confused. "Lost." "I didn't know," he said. "I didn't realize you felt this way." I almost laughed, this bitter, sad little sound that stayed trapped in my throat. "That's the problem," I whispered. He reached for me then, palms open, desperate, and I let him touch my cheek. His thumb brushed under my eye, slow, tender. Like he thought this moment could fix everything. But it was too late. His hands felt warm. Familiar. And wrong. Sunday night. Movie night. Our tradition, as Brian likes to call it, as if giving something a name can keep it alive. He sat on the couch in sweats, the soft plaid blanket pulled over his lap, a bowl of popcorn balanced in one hand. He smiled when I walked in, that same old smile that used to feel like sunlight. "Come here," he said, patting the empty space beside him. "Cuddle time." I hesitated. It was such a small moment, just 5 steps across the room, but my body stalled. Like I needed to steel myself first. Like walking toward him was crossing a line I wasn't sure I wanted to cross. But I went. Because I always do. I settled beside him. He reached for me immediately, his arm sliding behind my shoulders, fingers curling at the back of my neck. His hand was warm, firm, tugging gently to pull me in. I let him. My head rested against his chest. His heart beat steady under my ear. It felt mechanical. Like following dance steps I'd long forgotten the joy of. His hand slipped lower, fingertips tracing the edge of my shoulder, the curve of my arm, and then he kissed the top of my head. "Missed you this week," he murmured, voice low against my hair. I wanted to believe him. But something inside me flinched. Because I knew what would come next. His hand dropped to my waist, fingers sneaking beneath the hem of my t-shirt, palms splaying across my stomach. I tensed, staring at the flickering screen. Some old comedy played, familiar jokes, canned laughter, but I couldn't hear any of it. His hand moved slowly, like the beginning of something. Like an invitation. I stiffened. He felt it. "You okay?" he asked softly, his breath warm against my temple. "I'm fine." My voice was thin. Flat. Not convincing. "You sure?" His hand paused, resting lightly on my skin. "You've been distant lately. I just want to be close to you. Like before." I swallowed hard, forcing myself to stay still. My stomach turned, tight and wrong. I wanted to want this. I wanted to lean into him. To smile, to melt the way I used to. But all I could think about was how predictable it had become. Every touch. Every kiss. A slow, winding path that always ended the same way. Sex. Or the hope of it. Or the disappointment when it didn't happen. I pulled away slightly, pretending to reach for the popcorn. He didn't miss the shift. His hand slipped off my waist. What's going on?" he asked, his voice soft, cautious. Like he knew he was standing at the edge of something sharp. "Nothing. I'm tired," I said, forcing a small smile. "Long day." He studied me, his thumb brushing the curve of my cheek. "You always say that lately." I blinked, pretending to focus on the screen. I could feel the weight of his gaze, that searching, puzzled look, like he couldn't understand why his touch wasn't enough anymore. He leaned in, kissed my temple. Light. Familiar. I didn't flinch. I didn't pull away. But I felt nothing. No spark. No warmth. Just the gentle press of lips, like the brush of fabric against skin. And then, like he couldn't help himself, his hand slid down again. Over my hip. His thumb hooked playfully into the waistband of my leggings, giving a little tug. I stiffened. My stomach tightened. He smiled, teasing. Still my girl." I forced a laugh. Hollow. My body went cold. Why couldn't he just hold me without wanting more? Without every touch turning into a trail toward the bedroom? His hand rested low on my back, his breath near my ear, waiting for me to turn toward him. But I didn't. I sat perfectly still, eyes on the screen, the popcorn bowl untouched in my lap. And in the quiet of my mind, the thought curled bitter and tight, why does everything have to turn into sex? It happened at dinner. Of course it did. We were out, again, sitting in that trendy Italian place Brian liked because they served the best damn seafood risotto and because it felt fancy enough to make us pretend everything was normal. He had made the reservation. He had picked the dress. That green one again, the same dress from our anniversary. The one he used to say made me look like spring itself. Tonight he smiled when I walked out of the bedroom. But it was the same smile as always now. Polite. Routine. Like he was appreciating the shape of something rather than me. "Still got it," he'd said, reaching for my waist as we left. Better than the girls my age, that's for sure. That was the crack. The old wound. Still sore. And now we sat across from each other under soft, golden light, the smell of garlic and wine thick in the air. He was laughing, telling some story about a client at work who refused to do his therapy stretches, his eyes shining as he spoke. And I sat there. Quiet. I kept stirring the pasta on my plate, pushing a mushroom across the surface like it mattered, feeling the lump rise in my throat. "Emily," Brian said, breaking off his story. "Babe. You okay? You're quiet." I nodded. Sipped my wine. My heart thumped, fast and tight. "You're wearing that face again." He leaned forward, reaching for my hand. His thumb circled my wrist, gentle, automatic. "What is it? Come on. Talk to me." I pulled my hand back. "Don't," I said softly. He blinked. "Don't what?" "Don't touch me like that. Like you're handling some broken thing you can fix if you just press hard enough." His brows knit. What are you? It's always your hands," I blurted. "Always touching. Grabbing. Kissing. Pulling. Like that's supposed to make it better. Like that makes me feel close to you." The table went very, very still. He stared at me, eyes dark and wide. "I was just trying to what?" My voice cracked. Loud. Sharp. The couple at the next table glanced over. "To remind me I'm still worth touching? Still good enough for you even though I'm not one of the girls your age?" His mouth fell open. "Emily, come on. I didn't mean it like that." "But you said it," I snapped. "At dinner. Our anniversary. You said I looked better than girls your age, like I'm supposed to be flattered that I still pass for someone younger." Jesus, tears burned my eyes. Hot. Humiliating. I couldn't stop them. "Do you know how that felt?" I hissed, leaning across the table. "Like I was being graded. Compared. Like I was barely hanging on to your attention because I haven't let myself fall apart yet." He sat back, arms crossed, staring. Shocked. Silent. Like he didn't even recognize the woman across from him. "I used to feel safe with you, Brian. Wanted. Like I was yours. But now? Now every time you touch me, it feels like I'm something you're trying to prove to yourself. Like if you keep grabbing me, kissing me, dragging me into bed, maybe you'll forget that you've been looking at other women online, the real girls your age. The ones you pause for when you think I'm not watching." His jaw tightened. "That's not fair. You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" Silence crushed the space between us. The candle flickered. The sound of forks and laughter and clinking glasses filled the void where his answer should have been. I grabbed my bag. My chair scraped back hard enough to make heads turn. He said softly, but I shook my head and walked out. Out into the night. Into the cold air that stung my skin and cleared the hot blur in my eyes. I stood there on the sidewalk, breath hitching, chest tight, tears sliding down my cheek in ugly streaks. God, what had I done? He was trying. In his way. With his hands. With his touch. And I'd snapped. Like a child. Like some bitter, impossible woman who could never be pleased. The shame curled deep in my stomach. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was broken. I wiped my face with the sleeve of my coat and stared up at the blank sky. Why did I feel so empty? So angry? So unreachable? And why, for the love of God? Why does everything have to turn into sex? The days after the dinner blow-up felt like winter settling into the house, thick and unmoving. Brian stopped reaching for me. No arm around my waist when I passed him in the kitchen. No fingers brushing my shoulder in the hallway. No kisses on the crown of my head when he left for work. Just quiet. Heavy and awkward. Like we were strangers renting the same space. I heard him early in the mornings, the soft shuffle of his gym bag, the click of the front door, and felt the cold stretch beside me in the bed where he used to curl close, warm and real. He didn't say goodnight anymore. He didn't ask if I wanted tea. No joking texts from work. No thinking about you messages. I missed him. God, I missed him. But I didn't know how to fix what I'd broken. One night, I stood in the doorway of the living room and watched him, half hidden behind the couch, heart thudding. He sat hunched forward, elbows on his knees, staring blankly at the muted television. He wasn't watching it. His fingers rubbed together absently, the way they did when he was thinking too much. The strong, sure man I'd loved for so long looked tired. Worn. Like someone trying to carry something far too heavy. And the worst part? I'd put that weight on him. I swallowed hard, guilt clawing up my throat. He had tried. In his way. With touch, with closeness, the language he knew. And when I'd pulled away, lashed out, accused him of looking at younger women, he hadn't fought back. Not really. He'd just folded in. Quiet. Because he didn't understand how to reach me anymore. And maybe I didn't understand how to let him. I padded into the kitchen, opened the fridge, closed it again. No appetite. No answers. In the corner of the counter sat the little ceramic dish where he kept his watch, his wedding ring, loose change. His ring glinted in the light. He'd been taking it off more often now. Coming home, dropping it there without a thought. My throat tightened. He wasn't the enemy. He wasn't cruel. He was confused. Hurt. Probably wondering how the woman he used to hold all night had turned into this cold, silent stranger. Maybe he was thinking what I was thinking. That we'd lost something, somewhere along the way. Or maybe we'd both just changed and no one had noticed until now. I wanted to go to him. To kneel beside the couch, touch his hand, say, "I'm sorry. I'm scared. I don't know how to be what you need anymore. I don't know how to let you love me the way you know how." But my feet stayed rooted to the tile. Because what if it didn't matter anymore? What if the gap between us was too wide to close? He shifted on the couch, rubbing his face, sighing. The quiet sound of a man holding in too much. He still wore the t-shirt I'd bought him last Christmas. The one that said "World's Okayest Husband." I used to laugh when he wore it. Now I just felt like crying. Is this what marriage becomes? I wondered. Two people sitting in separate rooms of the same house, waiting for the other to break first? My chest hurt with the wanting of him. With the memory of how easy it used to be to lean into him, to whisper, to laugh. I missed him. But I didn't know if I missed him, or just the way things used to feel. I pressed my palms to the counter, staring at that empty ring dish. I had a choice. I could walk away, let the quiet grow until it swallowed us whole. Or I could try. One more time. I closed my eyes, heart heavy and trembling. Tomorrow, I thought. Tomorrow I'll decide. The decision came quietly. Not with some grand speech. Not with a fight or a tearful confession. But on a Wednesday morning, as I stood in the doorway watching Brian tie his shoes. His shoulders were slumped. His face was drawn and tired. Like he hadn't slept, again. Like the space between us was pressing on him just as hard as it was on me. "Brian," I said softly. He paused. Turned slightly. But he didn't meet my eyes. I walked closer. My heart thudded, uneven. My palms were cold. "I'm sorry," I said. My voice shook. For what I said at dinner. For how I said it. I wasn't fair. I was cruel. He sat back on his heels, staring at the floor. "I was trying," he murmured. "In the only way I knew how. You pulled away, and I didn't know what else to do but reach for you. Touch you. Like maybe if I held you enough, you'd come back." Tears burned my eyes. I know, I whispered. I know. But I needed something else. Words. Time. Space to miss you. Not just your hands. You. He looked up then. His eyes were glassy, rimmed with red. I didn't know how to give you that, he said softly. You never said. I knelt in front of him, close enough to smell his skin, familiar, warm, heartbreakingly his. I didn't know how to ask, I admitted. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then his hand came up, slow, unsure, and cupped my cheek. His thumb brushed the corner of my mouth. It wasn't hungry or demanding. Just gentle. Like the quiet start of something. I miss you, he said. Not just your body. You. The tears spilled down. I pressed my face into his palm. I miss me too, I whispered. His other hand touched my knee, resting there without expectation. A small weight. Real. Humans. And for the first time in months, I leaned into him, wanted to lean, until my forehead touched his. We stayed like that. Quiet. Breathing the same slow breath. The world shrank down to this small, aching space where maybe, just maybe, we could begin again. I don't know how to fix this, I said. Me neither. But I want to try. Not just in bed. Not just with kisses. Real things. Hard things. His lips touched my forehead, soft and lingering, and I felt the tremor in his chest as he exhaled. Okay, he said. Me too. No promises. No certainty. Just this moment. This fragile thread between us, holding fast. Later, I watched him fall asleep on the couch, the blanket pulled up to his chin, his face relaxed for the first time in weeks. I sat nearby, knees to my chest, listening to his quiet breath in the dark. Maybe we'd make it. Maybe not. But for tonight. We were still here. And that was enough. You know what no one tells you about long love? It's not the big betrayals that break you. It's not the screaming matches or the sudden, sharp endings you see in movies. It's not finding someone in bed with a stranger or hearing "I don't love you anymore" over coffee. It's smaller than that. Quieter. It's the slow fade of touch. The way kisses start to miss their mark. The way you flinch without meaning to when his hand finds the curve of your back because something deep inside you feels off. It's hearing the man you've shared a life with say, "You still look better than the girls my age," and wondering why it doesn't feel like a compliment. Why does it land like a quiet little crack in your chest instead? I spent weeks carrying that crack inside me. Too proud to say, "That hurt." Too angry to reach for him first. Too confused to even know what I really wanted. I thought he only saw my body. My shape. My fading youth. Like I was some trophy he wanted to keep polished, not the person he used to whisper secrets to at midnight. But the truth was harder than that. Brian wasn't the villain. I wasn't the victim. We were two tired, human people, each reaching in the only way we knew how. Missing each other by inches. He was touched because that's how he loved. Because touch, to him, meant safety. Closeness. Home. I pulled away because I needed space to feel seen. To feel real. Like more than a body, more than a fading version of who I used to be. But I never told him that. I let him guess. I let the silence grow. And when he reached, when his hand slid around my waist, or his lips brushed my neck, I stiffened. Flinched. Died a little inside. Not because I didn't want him. Because I wanted him. And I didn't know how to get there anymore. That's the loneliness no one warns you about. When you love someone but the bridge between you is cracking under your feet and you don't know how to fix it. But I learned something in all that quiet. I learned that touch without trust feels like pressure. Like expectation. Like another task to perform. And trust without touch feels like distance. Like cold air between two warm bodies. You need both. Or neither works. Brian and we talked, finally. Really talked. On that quiet morning with the sunlight in the kitchen and his tired eyes watching mine. No blame. No anger. Just honesty. Sad and slow. We admitted how scared we were. How much we missed each other. How lost we'd been trying to reach the other in the dark. We didn't promise to fix everything. We didn't swear it would all go back to the way it was. But we promised to try. To ask before touching. To speak before assuming. To see the person, not the fear. And that's the lesson I carry now. Desire isn't just heat and skin and breath. It's being known. It's safety. It's trust. It's looking across the room and seeing him on the couch, asleep with his mouth slightly open, and feeling that tiny warmth in my chest, the one that says, I still want to want you. And that's enough for now. So no, we're not perfect. Some nights he sleeps on the couch because the weight between us is too heavy to lift. Some mornings I wake up and wonder if I should have walked away. But we're still here. Still trying. And that counts for something. Maybe love, real love, isn't about constant closeness. Maybe it's about the space you give each other to come back from the quiet. To rebuild after the cracks show. To learn new ways to touch that don't hurt. Maybe desire changes. Grows up. Softens. And maybe that's okay. I don't need to be one of the girls his age. I don't need to be young again. I just need to be seen. Heard. Held, gently, patiently, for who I am now. And tonight. I believe that I can be. That we can be. Even if the road is long. Even if the quiet comes again. Because this time, we'll listen. 4.